Okay, and we're off. So I picked this episode because it's one that is in my top 3 on differences between my episode score and the zero score. And also I already went through and checked all the levels, and there's none that seem to be very, really tricky that I expect to spend just loads of time on, because there's got 1 or 2 little tricks or whatever that are tough to actually execute. If you could let me know that I'm actually live, it would be very appreciated. So, as you can kind of see here, this level is really pretty straightforward to begin with. There's not a whole lot to it. It's a little bit open, but not a whole lot of route problems or route options. So with this confirmation that I'm live, I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to have a goal for this particular level to be at a 0.75, 145 and 3/4 seconds. And you may have noticed that I missed 1 out of the second set of gold pieces and kept going. The reason for that is because when you're first starting off doing a level again, even if you miss a piece of gold or 2 that will really lower your score, it's nice to be able to get a feel for the route. And just get some practice on the later sections while you can. And I do agree with Eddie, says the first jump is tough. There's not a whole lot of space to get the proper positioning on it. And personally, I found the trick for that jump is I've not really ever been able to do very well with just holding right straight from the start. I let off for just a touch right after I leave basically the cockpit of the plane. And that gives you enough time to land on the slope of the nose. Missed a jump. It gives you time to land on the slope of the nose, and then actually have time to react for the proper jump timing. So that was a little bit slow up at the top. We'll see how it works. I'm hoping that eventually we'll get more than just our resident grandmaster watching this, but even if not, that is okay. At least I have some audience, not as much pressure. And I do plan on putting this up on YouTube at some point afterwards, so that anybody can look at it at any time, even if they were, for whatever reason, not able to catch this as it's live, as it's happening right now. So if you're watching this in the future, hello! And personally, I think one of the best parts, or best things of doing the first level in an episode, and I haven't gotten to that point quite yet this time around, is that because it's the first one, you can just finish off a run and take a look at what the final score is without having to guess about it. And if it's one that isn't up to what you would like, you're not losing any progress by just starting over the entire episode. but once you get past the first level, then you're kind of stuck with whatever you finish. And it is faster to do a chimney through that past the thwomp. That was actually very slow. So try again. It was a lot slower than I expected it to be. So at the exit switch itself, it is much faster to do a chimney, but my chimney skills are just not good enough. The score was like 144.075 or something like that. Yeah, okay. The number's a little small to be seen. Yeah, now normally when I play an episode, I will have another instance of N reality open. That was completely wrong. But I'll have another instance open that I can just go and check demos to not know all the routes before I start, or to be able to check and see what kind of scores are reasonable, reasonably fast, or if what I'm looking at getting for that run is going to be really way too slow. So for this one, I do not have any of that, just because I don't want to be constantly switching back and forth windows. And I think that would have been an alright run. I just didn't get the final jump far enough. It seems like that would probably be fairly common to have another window open. Then the biggest problem is that you have to make sure that when you go check in the high scores page of the game, that you don't then go play level in there instead of going back to the episode. Oops. And apparently just that little section going to the second pair of thwomps is more precise than I remember from playing this level before, because I cannot seem to get that positioning very consistently. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to carry on with this. And that run is a 145.2, so that's really not where I would like it. So we'll try again. And again, that's the beauty of playing the first level in an episode, is you have that ability to, you can essentially treat it as just scoring a single level. And you have that option to just see what your final score is and then continue. That was unexpected. I'm not sure if I just fell from too high, if I hit the corner by the door, propelled me downwards, or what. Something a little bit strange happened. I was not expecting to land and jump that way, down at the bottom. Almost was able to pull something off. So, yeah, this is kind of what I'll try falling on the final bounce block. That's actually what I did, and then somehow I still managed to die. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully I'm not boring you guys by just kind of droning and repeating, or stretches of silence, or multiple deaths that all look very similar in short succession. But, as we know, that is essentially the essence of high scoring in this game. So I'm hoping here that I can finish this level quickly and be on our way to the next one. It should be much more interesting video just because of the level that it is. That is sadly one of the downfalls of not using the chimney at the exit switch, is it becomes much easier for the Gauss turret to snipe you as you try and exit. Whereas if I remember right, if you can actually get the chimney, oftentimes you don't have that worry. But that's just too tight of a chimney for me to be able to reliably get. And Eddie tells me even with the chimney you can still die. But I don't really go for that too often just because it's too tight. And it's really kind of odd, and I always find this almost entertaining that this happens fairly often, it seems, when I play, for a particular section like the Gauss there. When I first started today, I didn't really have any problems with making it out alive, and now it seems like whatever I do, he snipes me. So it always seems to me that there's just this ebb and flow of how things go. Tim actually got the chimney my first try, and he still got me, just in a different location. But you can tell then why that is a much faster method, because it launches you up to the ceiling quicker. So then you don't have as much time to wait before you fall. It's a 145.175. It's even worse, well, by A-frame. Even worse than what I had before. So if I didn't keep that one, I shouldn't keep this one either. So we'll see. I may, vagaries of episode high scoring, I may end up, if it's taking me too long and I'm just getting tired of it, I may settle for something less than my initial goal for this level. You 2 are not supposed to show. And now my chat screen is obscured. So I'll fix that momentarily. There. So I apologize for that little interruption in screen time, but hopefully that's not going to be real noticeable. Whoops. I got ahead of myself. I believe that my personal best on this level is like a 146.1 or something along those lines. It's just over a 146. And while it would be nice to improve on that, I'm not expecting to for this. There are a lot of times where I'll do an episode run and I'll keep going with the first level until I improve my score. But this is not one of those times. It's because I remember it took me a fair bit to actually get there in the first place. And I wonder if, I don't know if it would even be possible, but for ending to this level of, instead of, the current ending, be able to do essentially what I've accidentally been doing the last couple times and jump completely over the bounce block and be able to get a backwards jump off of the thwump and get that speed boost. I wonder if that would even be possible. I know I did some testing a while ago for the first half of the level of essentially reversing the route, getting the gold on the way back at the bottom, and jumping from that first bounce block and the first thwumps across, and then doing one of the backwards jumps off of the second bounce block, but 145.075. But it turns out that even with the shallowest of jumps from that, you still end up going too high and you hit the barrier, you hit the wall, and you don't go straight into the tunnel. Unless Rife is able to do some sort of a manual demo that can prove me wrong. But I suspect that that's not going to be the case. I just don't know all the mechanics of those kind of jumps to be able to make a completely fully informed decision on whether or not that's possible. But I don't know, it just feels like it should be. And then along with the ebbs and flows, at times you get spells where you can't even start the level off properly. And you're just stuck doing nothing, essentially. And those can be some of the most frustrating times, I think. And at this point in time, I feel like most of the other high scores, if they were doing an episode run, would be well on their way through the episode already. Probably have come close to finishing the next level at this point in time. But because I don't know, I always feel like I'm a slow player to get the runs of the quality that I like, compared to say pretty much anybody else that has ever taken a significant amount of zeroths that won't be able to take multiple in a day, and it seems like that they find a new route or see somebody else's route and they can copy it and do just as well or better within half an hour. And I don't think I've ever really been able to do that. So that's why overall my episode scores are not as good as they can be or could be, and why I haven't done much episode scoring in the last quite a while, actually. It's just because I don't have the time for it anymore. Which I wish I did, but I don't, unfortunately. So if anybody has any comments or questions they want me to answer or anything along those lines, put it up in chat. I'll see it. I'll do my best to answer, talk about it, whatever. I just wish we didn't have this massive delay that makes communication so much harder than it needs to be. There's not much that can be done about that. And I always feel like bounce blocks can be like really kind of tricky to deal with. They don't always snap back to the same position every time based on how you actually use them beforehand. So in a situation like this at the end where you use it to go into the Gauss area and then you need to finish the level, it's like, even though it feels like I exit the same way, when I actually get do I do the gold collection trick? The gold collection trick being where you fall straight onto the slope instead of kind of landing on the flat and then tipping over. I do not do that. I tried it and I don't think I ever got all the gold with it. So I just gave up on doing it entirely. I'm definitely not going to do it here. And yes, that would save quite a bit. And I do know that, but it's as you say, it is very tricky and not something I want to try. Sometimes I have enough trouble just with the slow, easy way, or have enough trouble doing the final run to the exit, apparently. What always feels the worst to me is you feel like you've made it out and are free to go finish the level, and then the Gauss just catches your heel as you're running away, and you feel like you're, I don't know, it feels like your Achilles and you just got your tendon hit, or however that Greek myth goes. I'm not real familiar with it. Seems like just my suicide frame counts right at the exit have been getting slower each time instead of faster. I haven't been able to get the proper ending of jumping off of the bounce block yet either, so we'll see. I'm starting to get the feeling where just the next time I get a proper finish that I'll just take it and go. Can I see? Yes, I can see the grid lines in the... I can see them in the tiles. And that's just a... I'm not sure what exactly does it, but depending on how big I have the window sized on my screen, the positioning of the grid line changes. So it actually comes in handy sometimes. It was even slower than 44.95. So like I don't know what caused it. It didn't happen on the computer I used before this, and I do not have the grid option selected on actually in reality, which I imagine you can obviously tell, because that's pretty obvious. But yeah, but those can be pretty helpful sometimes, of giving a nice reference point for where to jump or where to land or whatever. And is much more standard than what I've used in times past, is little like dirty spots on my monitor. And that was an unexpected death from running into the falling thump. Actually, I remember when I first played this level, getting that second group of gold, just looking at the runs that were on the boards, it didn't look like it was that difficult, and then I actually tried it, and it actually gave me a lot of trouble when I first tried, which I find kind of odd, but makes a little bit of sense that you're going from essentially full speed to not, to going straight upwards. And you're about at the very edge of your jumping range to get the switch in the middle. So there's just not a whole lot of room to play there. And then sometimes you actually jump from too low. Or something. That is 145.5. I think I'll just go ahead and take that one. It's not what I originally intended, but it's a lot better than what I've been getting. So this level will be very interesting to see how long it takes me. This one I really would like to improve my personal best, which is, I believe it's like a 94 point something, but I have no idea what that amounts to in frames, which is obviously all I can see right now. And this run I know I'm not going to keep, but again, back to what I said before, you know, just practice the route. Anyways, I know one thing that can really help your time on this is landings on all of the 5 tiles. If you can land such that you get pushed forward instead of kind of squeezing into the space in between, then obviously that'll help you go much quicker. But you have to be very precise to do that, and or lucky many times, or just insanely good at the game. Which I'm not quite to that level, so. See, although I was a little bit surprised that I actually got all the gold and survived through there. So now let's see if I can have a clean finish. I sure hope I can. I think I won't go ahead and take this. And I'm not sure how that compares to my current level best, but I felt like I didn't do too bad. I feel like that would at least be on, it would at least be a top 20 score. I was like 21, 29 frames. This one is a very straightforward level, but you have to be surprisingly precise to get a good time and to get all the gold pieces. And this one took me a long time to get in the top 20. I do remember that. And that very topmost piece is, I don't know, it can be, you have to be just the right spot to jump off of the slope in order to reach it. I got it, but this feels like it's a slow run. It was only 5 frames from my best on the last level. That is actually... I'm actually a little surprised that it was that close. Which means that later on, sometime soon, I will be going back to that level and playing it some more. And improving my level, improving my best, hopefully improving my position on the leaderboard by several. We'll see. So now we are up to, as far as I can tell, 3 viewers. We have Eddie here. We have Mybum, who is, I consider him to be one of the top speedrunners that is actively playing. I'm always impressed at your dedication to doing episode speedruns. And we just got a 3rd viewer of Rife. So you were not here before. It's not really up to what I wanted for this level, but I guess I'll take it. Talked about before you were here of on the first level in this episode 810 of the potential of the final run to the exit, being able to do a backwards jump off of the left-hand thwump across and just shoot across that whole gap, and wondering how possible that would be for a potential MBD route. This level I expect will not go extremely quick. This is one I could also possibly get a new best on. I would not be terribly surprised. But it's very tricky, and I don't know, my timing for jumps off of slopes like these are always off, or usually off. And I am not going to, I don't think, attempt for the 0th route of jumping through the laser beam as it's charging at the end. That just seems like lunacy to me. Oh, I almost made it to the switch. Yeah, this is a level that I imagine a lot of people, when they are new to the game, have a lot of trouble with, or even just when they get here for the first time, essentially. And I know that the 0th runs collect, I believe it's all the gold before they even, on the first time through, and I am not going to worry about that. As long as I get it all by the time I'm done, that's good enough for me. I don't know why I went on that side. It's not really the side you want to go on. am fairly aware that I believe my problem with the first jump off of the circle is that I'm hitting the jump button too soon before I actually get there. But considering there's only about a 1 or 2 frame, time frame for you to execute it, there's not a whole lot of room for error. And this is how you rack up a death count extremely quickly. I thought I was through. Apparently not. Just trying something to get out from there. It did not work at all, obviously. And that's really my biggest problem with this level, is precise timing jumps like this often take me a long time to get, and then there's 2 that you absolutely have to get, and really you could do 3 or even 4. If you're going for the 0th route, you definitely need 4. I think if I'd been able to get up there the first try without having to stop and try a re-jump, I would have been okay coming back down. But I do know you will need to go from the right-hand side to exit from there. So hopefully I'm not stuck on this level for too much longer, but we will see. Take gold on the second chunk unless I go for it on the way back. That's what I do on my current best, is I get that upper piece of gold on the way back. That's kind of what I figure I'm gonna do here. That one I would have liked to have had. I guess that's one way to go about this. And then, of course, miss everything on the way back. That's okay. I may actually try that just for simplicity's sake. And for simplicity, ease of use, less frustration, all those kind of things. And maybe a little bit slower, but again, this is an episode run. There's a lot more room for going a little bit slower on any particular level. So looks like I may have to figure out just what kind of jumping angle I need to make it up through there. Maybe I got lucky the first time it happened and was able to just make it through. Oops. And I don't know, I may decide to go for a little bit more relaxed route back, just to make sure I get all of the gold and don't miss any, because any slowness on that would be much less than the 2 seconds I would lose by missing a piece. I'm sure. How contested are episode runs on the high score side? Nowhere near as close as they are on this on the levels. Hey, look, I actually got that jump. Really slow finish. I wish I had a little better return route. I would have kept it. Episode runs are not terribly competed. There is a lot of room for improvement. Like this particular episode, I think between 0th and 19th, like personally I have like about 44, 47 seconds behind 0th, and I'm not in 19th. There's 3 people below me, I think. The top, I think the largest spread for an episode on the board is still almost 100 seconds. I believe it's 90-something seconds between 0th and 19th for the largest spread. As far as if you want to go for 0ths, you better get them in soon before Eddie comes through and claims every episode for his own. He's already well on his way to doing that. But to just get on the board for the most part, other than the first few episodes, there's a lot of space to be able to do so. So I think in summary, from what I've seen of speedrun episodes, I don't really go on to that side of the board very often. I'd say high score episodes are somewhat more competed than the speedrun episodes, but overall less than the levels. Got another couple more people. Yahoopert that I do not recognize. That name must be another nickname from somebody. And Van Kush is here. So we're starting to get a little bit of an audience and some distinguished members. And yes, Van, the Twitch auto caps your nickname. Yahoozy, I should have guessed. I don't know about putting the rest in lower caps just because mine's all lowers. I don't know. You know me. I don't go onto the mapping side of things very often, so Yahoozy does not come into my head very quickly. And I got trapped. And that's why it's important to get that particular top piece first time around. Makes things much easier coming back. So what happened? Yes, what happened was time zones. I apologize, man. But this will be going up onto YouTube eventually, sometime soonish, once I figure out the best way to port it. I'll have it for myself if I need to do it that way, or there's some sort of fashion where Twitch, you can upload it from Twitch to YouTube, but I don't know how that works. And I'm thinking maybe I should have gone through with the idea that I had at one point of making a countdown for when this started. Maybe that would have been a good idea. And apparently Vaughn was not the only one who got confused on time zones. Backer Henry just showed up. Blue Tetris is here. I'm getting all the famous people from Night and Net, it seems. So hopefully I do not disappoint the masses. So people who have been here, how has this gone so far? Is it worth maybe trying to repeat, maybe with somebody else being showcased? Or what's the consensus so far? I think I've come to the conclusion I'm not gonna try and improve my personal best here. It's because I've already gone on for long enough and not really been close to having a decent run yet. So while I know I have room for improvement, this is not the time. So if we do this again, should we do more regular high scoring? Should there be like a column speed run? Do some sort of a like live competition on, say, like Numa maps. I don't know, that's about all I can think of at the moment for ideas to go. There's not a whole lot else we do, really. Yes, those 8 tile jumps. I agree with Macro. And as far as Blue Tetris goes, I'm not sure how consistent I'm going to be doing this, or anybody else. I mean, obviously I can't speak for anybody else right now, but I'm just glad this seems to be being received fairly well. I'm not sure how much of a consistent fan base we can actually get with the size of the community as it is. I think it could be interesting to see a comparison, have somebody from the N2.0 community do one of these, or just some sort of a recording to get some sort of comparison on high scoring between the original and the new. I don't expect there'd be a whole lot of difference, but you never know. And perhaps that would help increase, a fan base. Macro, I can tell you, I can't speak completely for Eddie on how long it's taken him, but I can tell you that how long this is taking me is about average for me. My episode runs usually take an hour and a half to 2 hours or so. I can tell you that his recent episode 78 took much longer than usual because he was stuck for about 2 hours on 78.3. But I get the feeling that was not normal. How many times have you done that new route in 78.3, Eddie? Was that essentially your second time? Or you only did it as a level score, or was it... have you done it more than just then. Switching the levels after 10 minutes, is that for Svan talking to me? Because if so, it might be a good idea, except that I'm in the middle of an episode run. So just switching levels would be extremely counterproductive at this point. Otherwise, yes, I would consider that. I think this episode will be not as clean as it could be just because of this level. Can get an all gold run. And at least try and be satisfied with that. Sacrifice the run for your pleasure. Well, you also get pleasure by watching it on the leaderboards once I'm finished. Thank you for your advice, Macro, for slowing down on that last jump to the exit. That does seem to have helped at least once. I've been thinking once I finish the episode, depending on what time it is, since unfortunately I do have other things that I need to do with my life and with my day off, such as life in adulthood. I was thinking of maybe just doing a couple, like one or two kind of fun deals at the end, seeing what people might think. Either maybe hosting a short Numa competition for a Numa map, or going in and switching my ninja color to the background color and try and do an easy episode or a level while basically being blind. That might be just like a bonus at the end, if I'm not completely worn out. assuming that macro's talking about the 78.3 new route, I agree you should be proud of discovering that. I remember it was crazy enough when Look At This came through on his secondary account, with the old faster route there. And that was difficult enough. I would love to be able to finish this and move on to the last level. It is just not working out that way for me at the moment. And a PSA to anybody who's thinking about doing some high scores. Eddie will be gone for a week or two in August. So that is your chance to take any of his scores, and he cannot retaliate until he gets home. So instead of having a 0th for a couple hours, you can have it for a couple days even. I suspect Macro Hunter is about the only one that will really be able to capitalize on that. But you never know, we could have a newcomer. So close. I guess we won't be closing up the doors on the high scores forum for the first bit of August. If Eddie and Macro are both going to be gone, that really doesn't leave hardly anybody left. Maybe Sky will be able to come back and reclaim his 0ths. Eddie will come back to do the latest high score rankings, and it will be just nothing. It will be completely blank. How much do you have left on your pack, Uzi? And how big is it going to be? I'm generally not that big into playing user levels, but I may give it a try. Oh, almost was able to go through. "24 seconds in a little over a week is ambitious. I think you may be able to do it." Oh, that was even closer. And the last laser got in my way. And I do believe in my current personal best, I'd stand and wait and for that last laser before I continue. So that's not anything different for me. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Am I good enough that I can make a career out of doing this? Should I just quit my jobs and go streaming my episode runs full time? Up to 9 viewers? Oh man. This is becoming the new Twitch sensation. It's a little bit amusing of seeing the chats and rooting for me on a run that was like 2 good runs ago. So the messages finally come up. I appreciate your roots and your well wishes, but unfortunately I could not see them at the time. Although that's on the complete other side of the screen, so I wouldn't be seeing it anyways, but you know what they say, it's the thought that counts. Whoa! Lasers everywhere. Completion. I'll take it. I got all the gold. It was not absolutely terrible. Some nice improvised corner jumps onto the last one. Oh, my finger's a little bit of a rest. How can somebody look and tell me how that compares to my best? Because I don't have that marked down anywhere. I'm sure it can't be too terribly far behind. Well, that's a terrible start. I just practiced this earlier today, and I'm not doing well at all. It's okay. I know I did watch my current episode run that's submitted, and especially on this level, I just missed gold. Got all over the place. Which is a good part of why I have so much time to make up. 790, not quite as close as I thought it might be. That's okay. I'll take the laser party over a actual fast run. And I knew coming in I wasn't gonna try and compete for 0th anyways, so if I could only hit jump when I tell it to instead of missing. Watching this makes Van want to play again. Yes, please come back, play again, join us. We're like Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave. We'll always be drawn back. .500 between the two. I did not realize it was quite that many. I wonder, that's got to be the most by any 2 people by a lot. Eddie is the resident high score rankings keeper. Do you have any numbers offhand on how close how close any 2 people have come to that number before? Because I remember I did a look at the top 20 rankings to see how congested the boards were in general. And it was unprecedented numbers of scores held by the top. I think I looked at like the top 5 or something similar. I may have to go look through those numbers again just for a update comparison. That's disappointing. Falling death. I'd say the hardest part of this level is getting all the gold in the centers. In the columns, because you're falling with pretty good speed and you want to obviously not hit the mine in the center. Screwed up on that. Well, really screwed up on that one. Oh, it was an odd. Sometimes you miss a jump, try and continue, and it just doesn't work. Sometimes you can get it to work, and that time it did not. So our best was around 400 between Zula and Mr. Lim. I guess that sounds about right. I really wonder how well Sailor or Mr. Lim or Johnny Faneka or Travel Maniac, I wonder how well they would do if they were in their prime right now. I wonder if they'd still be able to be competing for zeros. Maybe we'd actually not have domination by 2 guys. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but sometimes it's nice to see bigger, more competition. I missed a bump. Otherwise, I think I was doing fairly well on that run. I may revise my statement on the most difficult part of this level. May not be the gold, it may be dealing with the bounce blocks at the bottom. I don't know, you guys who have scored this and computed for the 0th spot, what do you think is the most difficult part of this? I agree, the bounce blocks are hurting me too. Make it very difficult. Oh, I did a speedrun move there. Accidentally. Feeling at this point, I feel like the beginning of the stream will be better watching later than the ending. I've been quiet fairly often here recently. It'd be nice to finish this off and have a good score at the end. This is another level I thought maybe I could have some improvement on. not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't. Am I doing the exact route on each column? As far as what you... I'm not entirely sure that you mean is that. I am attempting, at least, to get the proper jump sequence. I'm not doing the exact same sequence on each one. It's not my goal. It's like I know the second column that I go to, I do a different jumps if I jump at all. Oops. So I do have an actual route essentially in mind. That was not going to be a run to keep anyways. It's 2 gold already at that point. I think that's why it took me, or this was one of the later levels I got a high score on, was just because of all the bounce blocks. I guess as a player I'm not consistent enough to be able to use them well all the time. Now my brain has apparently turned to mush and I've forgotten what I'm supposed to do. I got it back. For now, maybe. think I'm gonna take this one just because it's an episode, and I'll just finish with that. May not have been the best final level, but a final score of 256. I think that's about a 30-second improvement or so from what I had before. New personal best, episode 81. See if the records will load in. Not quite a top 5. It's a little slow for that. But yeah, 33 seconds faster than. Yes, it is a 6th. I am above Eddie. That is a personal success. I will take it. It's time for you to get up to episode 81, Eddie. I've beaten you here. Submit. So that's what high scoring an episode looks like. It was a little bit quicker than sometimes, I guess, since it took a little bit under 2 hours. So really about average. Let's see if I can get some quick death information. Do some quick math that may or may not be entirely accurate. Let's see some of the easier ones. If anybody can make a quick tally of my total deaths before I finish and announce. Then it might not be too bad. No, I wasn't trying to take the episode. I had no illusions of trying to actually take the 0th on this episode. This was my 3rd largest difference, and out of the other 2 later, 7, 5, 6, 1, 4, 2. So that looks like it's right around 550, 560 deaths on this episode run for me. So yes, many deaths. Most I had 500 by suicide. Well, you also made that number up. Okay, that does seem a little bit low. Because I had about 550. That's just by suicide or falling. Maybe it was closer to 1,000. So I'll finish my tally. I don't want to play 81-3. I don't understand why. Okay, actually, new numbers, quick math may or may not be correct. There's a lot of mental math then written out. Looks like I died about 771 times on this episode. So, let's see, just for some fun, let me check. Okay, let's just do a quick episode 0 run for Invisible Ninja, or nearly so. We'll see how well I do. Not gonna go for high score, just go for least number of deaths. I will probably not be here in a half hour, so have a good swim, Ibum. Come over to the high score side at some point. And Macro Honey, your episode 0 is safe for me. I've tried before, and I don't know, you're just too much. Least number of deaths, yes, but not seeing where I'm at for the most part. Actually, I guess maybe I am cheating. I can sort of see. Yes, I'm not going for high score, so I assume it should yield 0. Two levels and no deaths. This will be a very boring level, but that's okay. I can see it barely. If you know where it's at, you can see it. But it's not the easiest to see. Oh, maybe this wasn't quite as fun or as challenging of a thing as I thought it might be. Maybe not. It was worth a try. So unless you have other ideas for me to do real quick, I think that's going to be it for this. I hope you all had fun. I know I had fun just playing. Reminds you of an Arctic Pony map. Before I completely forget. That's it. I guess I can, since everybody always seems to say about, oh, that is not the right. That is not the right map number. What is the standard chimney map Numa ID? I thought that was it. Or did I just reverse a couple numbers? I just reversed a couple numbers. Apparently. That's really... That's really my top chimneying speed. I cannot... I just cannot do better than this. If I somehow manage to get a new best with everybody watching, I will be amazed. Okay, 1669290. Simple challenge, dark room. Oh, wait. I apparently failed the dark room. I'm not very good at this, apparently. I'm not seeing... Oh. Now I see what to do. And I feel not very smart. At least I see what I think is a way of doing it. There. Success. And not the slowest. Hooray. Still have a ways to go before I can have zeroth or close to it. Now we have a new star, zeroth maybe, if it submits. Whoops. This is not what I thought you were going to have for a map to come up with. It's kind of cool, but not quite what I was anticipating. So, alright, yeah, I think I'm done. Glad you guys all enjoyed from what you say. And hopefully we'll have more of these things coming along at some point. So thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching, and not abandoning me in the middle of my troubles on 81.3. So, have a good day, have a good night, whatever you all will end up doing. And just have a good one.